got confused there a little bit. I have Noah Malgeri with me, and the reason I'm mentioning his name right away, because this name has to be put out there, because I understand, Noel, you're running for Congress.
That's right. Yep,
Well, we're in such a time, and I do believe that President Joe Biden gave his first speech of being in office for 1 year today. I don't know. I don't know the speech. Did you hear his speech?
I knew he was giving a press conference today,
Yeah,
and I
press
was in meetings all day, so I haven't even seen it. And I rushed over here to meet with you.
I haven't seen it. They want to be with me. Oh, Noel. So anyway, so how's it going and what's happening?
Well, the race is going fantastic. We're getting a lot of enthusiastic support. Our message is really resonating with folks because they see the same things.
What is your message?
My message is the preservation or restoration of freedom, which we're losing in this country at an alarming rate. As a father, I'm terribly concerned about that.
You know, I feel so, not sorry, but I feel so bad for people that about your age that have got these young children that are anywhere from 5 to sort of 12 or something.
Right.
And they're now starting to understand a little bit about the world and what's happening, and you know, the school system shut down and everything. But they live it. They're actually living in the moment, whereas we're living in the moment. We also live back in the moment.
Right.
When we were their age. So what is the difference of what they see and what we see?
It's a fantastic question. I mean, and my boys are 6 and 13. So it's just that.
I got the right age.
But you're right. I mean, it's a really...
It's different.
It's completely different. I mean,
20-year difference. I always say 25-year difference between our kids.
It's crazy. In the last 20 years, but since I was a kid growing up in the 80s, you know, when I was their age,
yes,
we took it for granted, and we thought that our freedoms were sort of self-perpetuating and self-maintaining. But we come to find out if we neglect the maintenance of our freedoms, the active maintenance of our freedoms through.
Well, if you neglect anything, what happens to it? It falls apart.
You know,
anything.
It's like a marriage, right? You can't just I can't just sit on the couch and watch football all day. I have to work. You know what I mean?
I was married 29 years, and believe me, you have to work it.
Right.
Believe me, you have to work it.
Right.
As love is, and as we appreciate people, we love, you know, our partner, which it should be a partner, but we have to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't want to compromise.
Right. And my wife is an answer to prayer for me. She's the greatest blessing I have, besides my children, and she is.
I hope all the other marriages out there feel the same way.
Well, she's my campaign manager too, so it's wonderful. So we are partners and business partners.
That's how it should be.
We're on the same page.
You're not only having a house together, probably a car together, children together, life together, but a business together.
Business.
My husband and I work our business all the time together.
That's what we do. So we're in this together. So you know, in that way, you really have to be on the same page because you're talking to each other all the time. You're on the phone. You're eating together. You're living life together.
Are you agreeing with? Is she obviously probably the question I'm answering myself, which is stupid. Are you both agreeing, or is she agreeing with all what you want and how you want to change things, or not change them, but maybe keep a few things?
She really is, and she's a great ideological inspiration for me. Now she's a little bit younger than me, and she sees things through a different lens. She was born and raised in Hawaii.
Oh, how fabulous!
Yeah, and she's actually.
Is she Hawaiian?
She's a Canadian American Jewish woman from Hawaii who was born and raised in Hawaii. So she's not like...
The culture is a little different as of being raised in Hawaii. I know Hawaii very well.
Right. Whereas I was, born and raised on the mainland. And so it's a little bit different. You see things differently.
Yes.
But her perspective that she brings to me is tremendous because it opens my eyes to a whole new set of possibilities and ways of seeing things that I don't always see. And I need that. I rely upon her and depend upon her for that.
Yes. So now, what is your main object to go into politics, number one? Why do you go into politics?
So it is really, my primary motivation is probably what we talked about at the outset, which you brought up, which is my children. I started fearing the possibility that they might not grow up in a free country. I mean, I started really seeing that possibility because you look at the erosion of our freedoms. I tell people, when my grandfather was my age, his dollar in his wallet was worth much more than mine, but his citizenship was worth much more. I mean, my freedoms are much more diluted, but we're kept asleep to this because it's a slow, pernicious decline in freedom. And so like our parental rights, for example, are under assault every day in the schools. The government schools are now asserting openly that they are the ones who have primary responsibility for teaching our children not just how to think, but what to think about matters, fundamental matters of morality, of principle, ethics, about the world. That's really our job as parents.
Isn't it by law, only of America I'm going to talk about it, isn't it by law that you really don't own your children? They might be your children, but you don't actually own them, because if you don't treat those children right, the state or government, whatever you want to call it, can take your children away.
That is correct. They're not property, but they are entrusted to us.
They're entrusted
Yes,
to you and your wife
that's right.
to look after. Although you've conceived them, you've had them, you've brought them up, but doesn't mean to say until 18. So you have to look after your child. Is that what they're trying to practice right now?
What they're trying.
Seems like it.
It seems like it. Yeah, they're trying to substitute the role of the family.
And you're not looking after your children, and I'm telling you that you've got to keep your child at home or school them or send them. I mean, first of all, send them to school. If you don't send your child to school, now it's keep your child at home. I don't know. It's very confusing.
Right. No, it's so out of control. Now the children are home, and the parents. It's a huge challenge for folks who build their working and professional life around the assumption that their children are going to be at school during the day so they can go to work.
Well, to work, to feed them and clothe them,
Right.
and do all the things you're supposed to do.
And the poor kids, they're without being in the classroom with their peers and other kids in a learning environment. It's a much more difficult to stay on top of them because you're so busy to keep them on task. And really, it just really raises the stress and anxiety level around the country. And all these households, we're experiencing massive increases of stress and anxiety. And part of it's because we're losing our rights and we see it, we perceive it.
Well, why aren't we doing anything against it? I mean, we're burying our head in the sand. We're saying, well, this isn't happening, this isn't. I mean, no, I know what you stand for, and I know what you're trying to do. Do you feel that there should be more people like you doing the same thing?
I really do. I think folks ought to get engaged, need to get engaged. It's an obligation, like we said at the outset. You have to maintain this free republic that we live in, and that is civic participation and engagement.
Love it.
And folks need to get involved. It's not
It's not
voting.
going to just happen.
It's not going to just happen on its own. It's not. By the way, if we just neglect it and think it's going to take care of itself, it actually goes the opposite direction. So forces who are hostile to freedom and want to accumulate power to themselves will start to come in and take it slowly by slowly. And before we know it, it's too late to resist because we don't even have the means or the opportunity to resist.
We don't, and that's the same as what I talk about a child. If you don't take care of your child, guess what? If you neglect your child, guess what happens? It's taken away from you.
Right, you can take it away.
So it's the same, the rights of anything in America. I mean, I'm not American. Well, I am American, actually. I've been American for a long time. But I'm from England, so I know a lot of difference. I know Europe. I know a lot of the stuff. And yeah, they have a lot of freedoms that we don't. I've always said that America, it's amazing. Everybody seems to have two jobs. Everybody is very influenced with having this and having that, and whatever they want, they've got to work for. But they don't mind working.
Right.
Americans do not mind working.
That's true.
Is that why America is so prosperous? It is very prosperous. I know there's homeless and all that stuff. We're now starting to see more.
Well, it's a combination of that can-do attitude, that motivation, but it's also the opportunity to make something out of that, of your innovation and your imagination and your enthusiasm. The tools are there and the opportunities are there for someone who's talented and has a little bit of ambition and a little bit of passion to bring a dream to fruition and like nowhere else in the world. And this is why people come from all over the world. But now, that's what I'm talking about. That's what's under attack. Those opportunities are being diminished. Those chances for people to turn their ideas and their passions and their dreams into reality are under assault.
Is that because we're bringing in so many people that now their influence is being influenced on the freedom of America?
Well,
because of what they're all used to?
Well, I think in part what we're experiencing is, what I find really troubling is this censorship. I think people are self-censoring. They're not feeling free. Like, I feel less free to speak my mind about things as a free American person, as a citizen, to say, look, I observe this about the government and I think this is a problem. Or go on Facebook and say, this is what I see and this is the way I see it. Now we're required to all conform to a narrative. It's like a government media prescribed narrative. And that's terrifying. You ask me why I'm running. That's another reason.
I want to know why you're running now, because I think, you've put yourself out there and you've put yourself out there for criticism.
Sure.
Good, bad, right, and wrong. All of it. You're doing all the above. You're going to have to be able to. I mean, I face it all the time because I'm out there. I'm on the media. Not everybody likes me. Believe me. And when you go out there,
That's not true.
Another one. My last guest said the same thing. Wow, I'm getting popular. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, but I'm actually my platform is to help people like you in the music business, in the entertainment, in anything. And law. You're a lawyer, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, do you think this is going to? I'm changing the subject. Dave. Do you think being a lawyer and then running, going into politics, is that going to help or increase your law firm?
Oh, my luck. Well, I don't think so, and I'm not even
thinking about it.
I've actually put that in law practice.
You don't have the two together.
No, it's really independent. Now, the perspective I have from practicing law for over 20 years is a great assistance to me.
Yeah, because you know what you can do and can't do.
Yeah, to a large degree, yes. But I've done other things too. You know, I'm a business founder. I'm an engineer as well, and I founded a business, like as I mentioned, with my wife. And I'm a veteran. I lived in Europe for several years. I lived in continental Europe for 6 years almost.
When continental Europe, what part?
Germany.
Germany. Oh, fabulous.
Yeah. So with that perspective, all these different experiences help, and really, number one, have helped me have the perspective to identify what the problems are and see clearly what's going on, but also to have the tools to try to address it.
Yeah. How long did it take you to decide to run?
You
obviously was out there thinking, well, I want to run for this, and do I like this? Do I like that? Do I want to change this? Do I want to bring this together? What do I want to do?
It really started for me when COVID started. I started thinking, it would be great because I thought the way that it was managed and handled was incredibly alarming because it seemed to me...
Good, bad?
I thought it was bad and
badly handled.
I thought it was very poorly handled and destructively. Destructively, I mean, you think of all the small businesses that have gone and not coming back.
That's what America is.
I know, it's the biggest part of our economy.
It's the opportunity here. America is the opportunity place of the world.
I started feeling as though they were using the measures that they were trying to impose to respond to COVID almost in a way to persecute citizens. I felt we were being persecuted. And we weren't.
We are.
Yes.
And look at small businesses.
Look at small businesses. And as a small business owner, I understood that. And friends of mine who are small business owners, I hear these tragic stories, generations of families who built restaurants and other businesses shuttered. And they were doing well, they were booming. And they would go to their representatives and they'd say, look, this is the problem we're facing. And they would get no help. They wouldn't get any help. And they weren't getting the help. They were crying out. I mean, agonizing, this business that we built.
I don't get the whole thing. You can walk in, you've got to walk into the restaurant and have a mask on. And as soon as you sit down, you can take the mask off. Now, what is the difference between walking into this place and sitting down?
Right.
I've yet to find out. I don't know. Now, there's a reason you brought up restaurants. The reason we are now filming in different restaurants, you might think, where are we? We're not. We know exactly where we are and what we're doing. We're promoting restaurants.
Wonderful. I love that.
And so we're promoting Mariposa. Mariposa is a fabulous restaurant.
It's delightful.
It's beautiful. It's very pretty. They've got an entertainment place here. They've got an incredible bar, which is amazing. And their dining room is beautiful. So this is what we do to help. So we're trying to do our little bit of help.
I love it.
Rather than being in a studio, I've been in studios with a green screen. It has no personality at all.
This is much more pleasant. And you're much more at ease.
We're at ease. Oh, I'm at ease. Absolutely.
It feels like we're having dinner.
With you now.
Oh, thank
you. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty. How can anybody reach you? How can they vote for you? And give out just what people are going to vote for you for.
Right. Well, I'm a Republican running for U.S. Congress in Nevada's 3rd District. The current incumbent is Democrat Susie Lee, so I'd like to defeat her. And you can reach me, you can look me up on my website, which is noahfornevada.com, or you could just search for me on the internet, Noah Malgeri, M-A-L-G-E-R-I, and you'll find a lot of articles about me in the media. But I would love anybody who has any questions about my campaign, what I stand for, to go online, look at the stories, look at my editorials that I've written, my pieces, and
And would that be your website?
My website and other places I've
written. What's your website again?
noahfornevada.com.
noahfornevada.com.
And it's about freedom.
And freedom. Well, we're so used to freedom because we live in the United States of America.
Right.
And that's what we want to. We want to maintain what we already have.
We want to maintain it as a reality and not an illusion.
No, yes, and we don't want it sort of disappearing down whatever channels it's disappearing.
If I have to tell my kids stories of what it was like to grow up free, it'll break my heart. Can you imagine?
I can't imagine that, but they're being brought up gradually, being used to it. So the problem is that when. I always say it's like 25 years, give or take a few years, of children. and parents. There's always this gap, unless you have them much younger. But I'm just going on an average. So there's always a 25-year kind of difference of what we were and how they are.
Right.
So they're brought up into it, and they really don't see the change, whereas we do.
Right.
And we know what it was and how great it was, which it still is.
It still is, thank God.
And except I'm getting a little bit nervous because I've been in Poland, I've been in all over Europe, and I've seen empty shelves.
Yes.
Believe me, I've seen empty shelves.
My goodness.
Now I'm walking into places right now in America, well, actually in Las Vegas, and I'm looking at, well, where is everything?
That's right.
And I don't think, nobody really seems to have got, oh, well, they're just waiting for a delivery. Well, we never waited for deliveries before.
Right, right.
I don't remember seeing an empty, oh, we're waiting for a delivery. We don't do that in America.
Right. I mean,
so I think we all need, and this is everybody, because I'm not on any side. I'm in no religion, no politics. I'm in nothing. But I think we need to see what is going on out there. Really take notice that there are empty shelves. That's for everybody. That's for every nationality and for every religion and for everybody in politics, whatever you are. There's still a shelf is empty. You can't buy something.
You know, that call to just have perspective and notice things.
Just notice it, please. Please notice it.
Exactly. We can't do anything if we're not even aware of it.
Because all these boats are sitting in all these channels. I don't know what's going. We don't hear anything about that anymore. Why are we not?
Well, the media is suppressing so many stories. You know, these massive protests against the COVID lockdowns that they had all through continental Europe, they were suppressed. And in Australia, we're not seeing that. The news,
that's all disappeared.
The news is so it's not that it's disappeared, it's we don't get reporting on it here intentionally. The news is so carefully curated here, and it's really a government media complex.
Listen to what he's saying.
It's a government media complex. And so what we have is mainstream legacy media. Much of the media organizations are conglomerates, and they're entertainment companies and so forth, and they have interests and other interests. They're not aligned with our interest in being informed. They're aligned with being profitable or having access to Chinese markets, for example. So they have agendas. They curate the news. It's not just objective news that might be interested to an average person. It's a message. They're
giving the messages they want to give out. But what I say is, I deal with the world. We are all people. We are all born the same. I don't care. We're all conceived one way or the other. We're all born the same. We all kind of eat, live, drink, eat the same all over the world. So I don't know what is going on.
You know, and you brought up an alarming point. Think about the children who started school during COVID, have never gone to school without a mask. They can't see their classmates' face when they talk. They're learning.
But they don't know that.
They're learning to speak.
They think this is normal.
Right. They think isn't that a shame?
Well, because we know the difference.
Yes.
That's the problem. I just heard that the Prime Minister of England, or whatever his name is, Boris Johnson, I just said he's going to, apparently, I don't know, I heard it, he's going to lift every single thing and it's going to become open England again.
Well,
so,
wonderful.
I don't know. Until I get on a flight, go to England, then, you've got to go quarantine for 10 days. Oh, I'm afraid to go anywhere.
Do you have to quarantine when you go back to England?
I wanted to go. I got vaccinated because I was going back to England. Then I found out when I got to England I had to go quarantine for 10 days. I was only staying 5 days, so I thought I'm going to stay 5 days in a hotel.
That's crazy. That's the same thing with my wife going back to Hawaii. It's the same thing.
So I didn't go, but I had the vaccine. Well, because of that, I had the vaccine, but it's fine. But I couldn't go. So now I'm afraid to go because even though they're going to lift all these quarantines and all this stuff, doesn't mean to say that when I arrive they might say, well, we put it back in again.
Well, what it is, I mean, when you give people emergency powers and they have authoritarian control to issue mandates and dictates in that manner, they're not going to let go of that power easily. You can't just ask nicely. So in some cases, we're going to have to take it back because enough is enough at this point. I mean, so. You know what I mean?
But I think everybody kind of wake up. Come on, let's start being people again, and don't be afraid. Don't be worried about your opinion or what you think or what you feel. They're going to criticize you anyway. Whether you don't say anything, they're going to criticize you. If you do say something, they're going to criticize. So what difference does it make?
That's right.
You might as well get out there, right?
That's right. That's absolutely.
Well, no, it's been amazing, very informative as to what's going on and as to what's happening in this world. Well, not world, but in America, but mostly in actually Las Vegas. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We're going to see what happens, and hopefully we can help in one sort of way or the other. We're on neither side. We just want to keep America how it really is. You know, it's the freedom country of the world, and they want to destroy us, and I don't get it.
I know. Well, it's
jealous.
Wonderful.
Jealousy is a dreadful thing.
That's right.
We'll be right back with our next guest. You take care.